We're back!
Hey everybody! Welcome back to Off Our Needles.
I'm Jodi.
And I'm Tracie, and we are the Grocery Girls.
Okay, let's start again.
It's season 3.
It is. We are so excited to be back for another season, but this is going to be a little bit different format.
It's going to be amazing. We're going to bring you some shorter videos, but so many more of them. You guys are going to love it. We're going to see you several times a week.
You're going to get sick of us.
No.
Okay, so today we're swatching.
Swatching,
Yeah.
yes, and why it's important, and yes, we should all be swatching.
So let's talk swatch.
Okay.
We think that swatching is super important.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's the dreaded swatch, but it's really not. It's a super important tool to start your project.
It gives you so much information, and let me tell you, from a girl who didn't swatch for 3 sweaters that don't fit,
You're a reformed swatcher.
I'm a reformed swatcher. So here are some things that swatching can tell you. A swatch can tell you if you're getting gauge.
Your swatch can tell you how your yarn looks in that stitch pattern.
It can tell you how your yarn is going to feel.
A swatch can tell you how the color of your yarn looks knit up, and that's really important for hand-dyed yarn.
A swatch can tell you how you like your chosen needle for this project.
A swatch can tell you how your yarn drapes in this pattern with your chosen needle.
It's going to tell you how stretchy or elastic your pattern is.
Swatching tells you how your fabric will react to blocking,
And how it will react to washing.
or if your fabric will pill with abrasion.
It's going to tell you if you enjoy working this stitch and are able to follow this pattern.
So swatching can tell you so many things before you even get going with your project.
It really does. So it's not only size, it's everything in one little package that's going to make or break the success of your knit.
It can really eliminate a lot of surprises.
This is a flat knitted swatch that we've talked about and shown, but today specifically we're going to be talking about swatching in the round.
Yeah, so the one we just showed you was a swatch in stockinette.
Yeah.
Which means half of the stitches are knit and half of the stitches are purled. And most people have a different tension for knits and purls. So when you're knitting in the round and that's all knit stitches, it's really important to swatch in that stitch pattern to measure your stitches properly.
Right, because when you're knitting just the stockinette stitch where you're knitting on one side, purling in the other, it can be extremely different gauge going from a knit stitch to a purl stitch.
It's true. So if you do that swatch flat and then you knit your sweater in the round, don't be surprised if your measurement's different at the end.
So here we have a swatch in the round. So we've cast on the right amount of stitches, and what we're going to do instead of purling back, we're actually going to put a long float along the back and then come back to the front and then knit again. So you're really just knitting in the round, bringing that big loop across the back.
Yeah, and you're only gonna knit half of this, one side of stitches and a nice loose float, and then all your stitches will be knit and nothing is purled. So swatching in the round is especially great for color work because you're only doing your knit stitches. I'm gonna show you how to do a row in just one color right now. All of my stitches are going to be knit stitches on this row. Okay, I have finished my row, and I guess you have 2 options here. You can turn and purl back, but because we're going to swatch in the round and we want all our stitches to be knit, I'm going to show you how to handle that float. The first step is going to be to shove all of your stitches back into your working position at the opposite end of the needle. See how your working yarn is at this end of your row still? And we want to start over here. So we're going to run a long float of yarn along the back of the stitches we just worked and start knitting fairly loosely. You don't want to be compressing your stitches with a tight float. And just continue with your rows to make your swatch as large as possible. We think 4 inches is a good size. let me show you what this looks like on the back. There's all your crazy floats running across the back. And when we're gonna block our swatch, we're actually gonna cut down the middle of those floats so we can spread our swatch out in a nice flat and block it.
Okay, so this is really great because I actually didn't even think when I was knitting a sweater in the round that I should swatch in the round.
I know, and sometimes they don't tell you that in the pattern. It's just one of those things that you kind of have to know as a knitter, and I think it really does make a difference. So I love all these tips for swatching.
Another tip to remember, guys, is that if you're doing color work, you want to do your swatch color work. If you're doing a pattern for the sweater, your swatch always wants to be in the same stitch as the project you're working on.
Same needle, same yarn, and by same needle, I mean same needle size, but also if you're swatching with a metal needle, stick with that metal needle in your pattern because lots of times your gauge can change.
Yeah, so this is a great trick for Fair Isle because you're always knitting on the right side, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, easy to work.
It is. So now let's show you what the swatch looks like for your second step.
So this is a swatch in stockinette stitch, knit in the round.
Yes.
And I'm gonna just flip it over and show you what the back looks like. All our crazy floats.
Yeah.
So this has just come off the needles. This is not washed yet, and Tracie's gonna show you one that's washed.
Yeah, I'll show you one we blocked. This one here shows that we've cut all those floats up the back and we've washed it and soaked it and pinned it out. And now we can actually measure this and get a really good idea of what is our yarn doing? Are we getting gauged? Do we like the way this looks? And it's gonna tell us so many things before we actually get knee deep into our project. No ripping out. Thanks so much for joining us today, you guys, for our first episode and all the secrets you've ever wanted to know about swatching.
There's a link in the description box below for a free trial Craftsy membership.
That will be amazing.
Yeah.
We'd love it if you guys would subscribe and give us a thumbs up, and we can't wait to see you next time.
Don't forget to comment. We'd love to hear your swatching success.
Yeah, successes or horror stories. What's happening with your swatching?
Yeah. Till next time.
Happy
Bye.
swatching!